Welcome to a Community Partners interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Nafisah Anif, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Corinne Young, the Executive Assistant for Jasons Wheelhouse. Jasons Wheelhouse's mission is to provide a space and programming for the members of their higher needs community and to assist with their growth and confidence as individuals. They will ensure a safe, fun, and interactive environment for guests and staff alike. They are a trustworthy place and have an excellent standing in their community, fully licensed and insured to offer the best care and safety for their visiting guests. They are always staying up to date and current with education and therapeutic practices to give the best care. Thank you so much for joining us today, Corinne.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little more about you and what inspired you to work at Jasons Wheelhouse and why work with individuals with disabilities?
Okay, actually, that's a great question. I'm actually a mom of a very neurodivergent house. So, my daughter, Ember, has autism and other diagnosis, and I was going through a really hard time. We were really struggling, and we actually got set up with the URS program, which is like urgent response. And I came here and I didn't know honestly anything about places like Jason's Wheelhouse or respite or anything. I was like really a new mom to an autism diagnosis or like, challenges and struggles with my daughter. And I wanted to do whatever I could do to help her. And it kind of like was a natural fit. And I came here and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. And then I found out through her doing programming and respite here that Janice, the owner and director, had a son named Jason that has profound autism. And she made this place for him out of necessity when he was younger because there was no places for him to grow and be himself in a stress-free and barrier-free environment. And I was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing that another person, like a mother like myself, made this place. And then honestly was just like a natural fit. And she's like, you know what? I feel like you have the same type of vision and the same type of like outlook. Like, would you like to work for me? And I was like, yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. And honestly, that's how this whole thing became. And that's how my job evolved. And now I went from uh, assistant to executive associate director.
Oh,
So
wow, that's
y-
absolutely amazing. And
yeah, we've been really
congratulations.
thank you. We've been really trying to, like you said, be current, and we've added a bunch of different therapies to make it easier for our guests to access because we know there's lots of like wait lists, and we're just trying to be like the people where we can fill the gaps. So that's honestly how it happened. It was a very like natural progression. And yeah, I'm just really appreciative of the opportunity. And I'm, has a close place to my heart because of how amazing they were with my daughter. And I'm just like, what a remarkable place. I've never seen something like this, even doing different therapies with my daughter. So it was really cool.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That is truly that is truly inspiring. And I found especially for parents of children with special needs, and I say special needs to me to reflect disabilities on a very broad level.
Yeah, for sure. We actually call them additional needs,
Uh-huh.
um, because, we feel that everybody has a need. That's why we're like all ages, all abilities, and then we say we specialize in additional needs because we feel like everyone is special, but some people need additional needs. So that's kinda come from Europe, and we're like, "Ooh, we like that." So we're gonna kinda adapt that. So, but yes, I totally understand the special needs thing, which is it is more broad and it is a good one for sure.
Yeah, I actually I didn't know that the additional needs came from Europe, but that's great. I think I'm gonna start adopting that in my own
Right? I think it's just a
repertoire too.
yeah, it's just like a nicer way, a more inclusive way, and it doesn't make everyone like, everyone struggles in their own way, and you just sometimes someone just needs an additional need, like, they have just additional needs that need to be helped, and that's totally okay.
Oh, for sure. So when doing my research and looking on your website, I saw that you have a couple of programs. Can you tell us what some of those programs are?
Yeah, so we're a recreational center for higher needs individuals, all ages, all abilities. Um, we are definitely now towards a therapeutic center. We have therapeutic respite, so all of our staff is trained in therapeutic respite. So we have respite services, community involvement, day programming, group programming, and individual programming. We just are now offering occupational therapy. So we have now more of a therapeutic practice that we're looking into. And we also have a lot of community events, and we do a lot with our community and a lot of community connections. So we have everything from like educational help to caregivers help to caregivers education to like guiding funding. If like people need help with like where to find funding or how to organize funding or any navigational type of needs, we also do that. And honestly, we're very based off of like what the guests and the families and the caregivers need. So if you need it, we can probably find it or make it for you as an individual program. Like we've done everything from like there was a child that couldn't do dance lessons in a dance studio because of she had additional needs. So we brought the dance teacher here. Or we have a music room that like people can do music lessons in a safer, barrier-free environment. So we want everybody to have room to grow as themselves in a barrier-free environment and freedom to be themselves. So it's pretty much like a home away from home. I like to think it as. So yeah,
I love the inclusiveness, the inclusion that I'm hearing in your voice and the passion. It's really, really just amazing.
for sure. We also have like there's no barrier here. So like there's no language barrier. There's no religious culture, ethnicity, mobility, behavior, medical, sensory. Like there's no barriers. It's a space to grow and the freedom to be themselves. So um a lot of people contact and they're like, well, this and this and this. And I'm like, they have a more of a high behavior. And we're like, it doesn't matter. We'll, we will, like, whatever this support needs are, we'll do it. We'll figure it out.
That is so wonderful to hear.
Mhm.
And I also saw that you have a day camp. What is the day camp all about?
So the day camp is mainly in the summer, right? So we like people a lot of our guests they go to school and then in the summer they need some, like children go to camp or a person goes to camp. So we kind of run a all-inclusive barrier-free type of camp. So instead of having it like super, super scheduled and maybe that gives like someone more anxiety, we kind of do like a day camp feel. So we'll do like day camp activities, but in a more slower down, um, more pertaining to whatever that goal is for all of the like the people. So we tailor it to them instead of kind of like put them in a camp box, let's say. So we run a day camp. So like, like we do like outside activities or like we do camp style activities, but just at a rate and that everybody can belong or have fun with.
That does sound a lot of fun. For sure, it does.
It's amazing because we have a huge backyard. So, like, we have, like, day camps, we do, like, gardening. So we have, like, a lot of garden boxes. And so we did, like, full-blown, like, vegetables, and then, like, the guests had, like, vegetables, and then we, like, made, like, salads, and then we, like, there's, like then you integrate like cutting skills in there and like independent cooking skills. And so we try to hide all of the not so fun demands of life into like a fun activity without them even noticing. So we don't want to increase the demand of that person, but we want to teach them in a way that is going to be carried forward in their lives. So instead of being like, okay, well, here's a vegetable, cut it. We're like, let's start from scratch. Like, let's plant the seeds. Let's see where this goes. We can water it. You can take care of something. You can nurture. And then they have everyone has the satisfaction of like, look what you did. You made something. You saw that. You planted that little seed and now it's a beautiful flower or it's a vegetable that you can eat. And then, it's like a whole progression of education and, the satisfaction and the independence and them just being proud of themselves for doing something that has a complete end goal that they did themselves, and we find that, like, we have a lot less behaviors and a lot less anxiety here because we kind of have a more holistic, like, balanced approach to things, so it's really neat. And we have a backyard and a trampoline and lots of fun activities and a gym. We're very fortunate to have a huge space with lots of different rooms for lots of separate functions. And so all of that gets included in the day camp program.
And masking, let's say, masking life skills learning within those fun activities, I think is so truly important, especially for individuals with additional needs, because
Hmm.
I find that if you don't, it becomes a lot more stressful on them because they all of a sudden think that responsibility is a horrible thing.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, everybody has a different need. Like, you can take a very anxious person that has a little bit of a lower self esteem and be like, here, do this. Well, they're not gonna you have to build the rapport with them. They're not gonna wanna do that, so you have to really listen to we call them guests here because we want everyone to come here and feel like they own the place. Like, they're a guest, they're not a client. You're coming in here, you're having fun, like, this is your place, so you have the freedom to be yourself. So, that's where the term "guest" comes from, so we call them guests, and we just kind of, like whatever we make it, like whatever they need, like, you can't someone that has high anxiety doesn't wanna necessarily or demand avoidance, doesn't necessarily want to do a demand, so we try to be like, "Alright, yeah, like, what do you think about this?" Like, it's very led by them, very guest-led. "Do you wanna go gardening? Okay. Do you want to, like, water the flowers, or do you wanna, like, dig in the dirt? You don't wanna dig in the dirt? You have sensory issues? Okay, we're not gonna dig in the dirt. How about you do this instead? Are you okay with that?" Like, we're we're very, like, affirming that way, and then we find that, like, were willing, they want to do more, like, they're like, "Wow, like, you got them to do all that?" We're like, "Yeah, because we treat them like humans, like that they are. They're just people that you have to go with them, not the expectation you have of them."
Exactly, and giving them choice is
Yep.
also really important because when they can lead, I don't wanna use the term care, but when they can direct or when this approach is truly self-directed as you've been describing, it
Mhm.
truly makes a difference.
For sure, and then it makes them feel like they have control of themselves. They have autonomy, right? That's a huge thing, is when you take someone, especially with, additional needs, they're very autonomy-based, most of them. So if you take someone's autonomy, even anybody, you take their autonomy away, they're going to be dysregulated. They're going to not trust. They're going to have a hard time fully building the rapport with you or letting you into their world. So if you give them the choices and you let them lead, then you build that trust in that communication of whatever communication they have. And then there's really no problem. You can teach them. They want to learn at that point or try things that they've never really tried before.
Exactly, that's so true. So you did touch on this a little bit earlier, but are there any restrictions to the services that Jason's Wheelhouse provides, such as age, caregivers, or family members only, things of that nature?
No, we have no restrictions. Um, the Honestly, we are an appointment-based, facility, so we do like to have an appointment, you reach out to us, and then you can come for a tour. That's how we like to start everything. The only restrictions we may have is some guests are better with other guests, and based off of safety, that's really our only restriction because we want everybody to have the best time, and safety is number one priority. So some guests can be a little bit more aggressive. So we don't want to put them with someone that's going to not fit with them. That's pretty much the only restriction that we have. So yeah, it's not even really a restriction, it's just the safety of other people. Because of, some people have more additional needs than others, and sometimes that's a behavioral need, and that's okay. And we want them to have the best time, but we also don't wanna put someone that's maybe a little bit younger and has a lot of anxiety and a lot of sensory issues with someone that could potentially hurt them, not purposely to hurt them, but we have to separate them, right, based off of, like, the safety of everybody.
Oh, of
So,
course,
it's
that
just
that
a
makes so
scheduling thing.
yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Mhm.
Wow. So, without using any names, can you share a success story? What supports were put into place when someone asked for help?
Okay, so this is a recent thing, but we have a facility dog, named Jasper. He's an, autism therapy dog, and there is so many guests that are so scared of dogs. Um, Dogs are unpredictable, and, you know, they have a lot of trust issues because of, like, they don't know what it's gonna do and all of these things, and since we've had Jasper, our, autism therapy dog, facility dog, people now like, our guests now, like, pet him. They they w they have, like, comfort with the dog, where, like, before we'd have to put the dog in a different room, and then we started doing, like, exposure therapy, so he'd be in a window, and then we got him to, then they would start to, like, go near him, and then now they can pet him. Now I understand that it's a dog and that's what it is, but it's kind of the same thing as if you start slow, like, we have guests that come here they only can stand here for 20 minutes at the beginning, and they sit at the door or the window, and we keep reassuring them, "It's okay, mom's coming back, your caregiver is coming back, it's okay, you're in a safe place," and we just sat with them by the door because we don't want to make them or push them too much for them not to gain the trust and the safety. And by putting, really listening to that guest and slowly, and then we started to slowly bring stuff to them. Okay, well, did you want to do a puzzle by the door? Okay. So then they would slowly move away from the door. That guest, and he used to elope. He used to go and, you know, self-injure himself, would run across our, parking lot to the other, we have a factory beside us, and he used to self-injure himself on the factory. He now stays for 4.5 hours
Wow.
because we just were patient and listened to him and didn't push him too far, and the demands were low. I think that's what happens sometimes is people put too much demand on someone without building the trust and the rapport first. In the end, it's about them. You're trying to gain quality of life for them, not what you want, what they need. And
Exactly.
we have guests, same thing. They all start all by the door and they're really scared and they come and their parents or their caregivers like, we can't get him out of the house. And we're like, okay, we're gonna try our best, whatever you guys need, whatever goal setting you need. And this guy now stays for 2.5 hours. It's a different person. And it's just a slow progression, and that's okay. We're like, "You can stay for 30 minutes, that's okay." And, like, "What do you wanna do?" Sometimes we have to, like, um, you get an iPad and you play an iPad with them, and then they're like, "What are you doing?" And then you're like, "Oh, cool, okay." And then you build a rapport with them, and then that's when you can focus on life skills. But instead of like, sometimes goal driven things are great, but sometimes people need the safety and the trust before you start working on goals, and that's what we find most successful. And we have a lot less behaviors. We almost have no behaviors where people are like, "Oh, well, they're very behavioral." We're like, "Okay, that's fine." And then we end up because of the trust that in the, the autonomy-based approach that we don't really have behaviors.
I actually work in the rehabilitation field myself. I
Mhm,
provide independent living skills instruction to people who are blind and visually impaired,
mhm,
primarily, and deafblind.
yep,
And what you just said is so important in that you need to build that trust, you need to build that rapport. And if that means literally just sitting and having milk and cookies with someone because that's what they feel like doing, and
mhm,
if you can do that too, just for them to feel like, "Oh, okay, this person is doing the same thing as I am. They like chocolate chip cookies. I like chocolate chip cookies. I don't
mhm,
like warm milk with my cookies, and they don't like warm milk. This is good. I have a friend. I have someone I
right.
can relate to."
Exactly. Like you said, and people with additional needs are more aware, they're more sensitive, and they, they're more of an out of the box thinking, so they typically are more adaptable with creative thinking or creative spaces. Exactly what you did, right? That's not exactly like what you're supposed to be doing, but people, you like you did, like you just have to think outside of the box. Like it's not so there's no textbook for um, making someone's quality of life the best it can be.
And this is
It's
why I love the field so much too,
Yep, same.
because it never follows, A plus B equals C all the time.
Mhm.
So it's great when you get to make your own decisions, when you get to think out of that box, when you get to close the box because whatever is in that box is just not working for the individual that you're supporting.
Yep, and that's where, Jason's Wheelhouse is a beautiful place because, people come to us and they're like, "Well, I can't find it." Like, everyone fits here. We are the place that, like, everyone's like, "Well, there's" like you said, "Is there any stipulations or any barriers that, that is unaccepted?" And really, it's no, like, this is a yes place. Like, we have, a daughter come here and the mom's really tired and, like, they go to school and they get told, "No, no, 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 you need to sit down, you need to do your homework." And she's like, "Is there any way I can just give her a yes place?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, she can flick the lights on 75,000 times if she wants to. She wants to touch the buttons 3 times, 4 times in a row, cool." Um, and then based off of that, we started a program called Stay and Play for our youth and, school-age children where it's the parents stay while the kids play in a safe and barrier-free environment. So, children with additional needs can explore the wheelhouse while their parents stay, but there's no judgment because all the parents are, um, special needs caregivers and parents. So and then it gives the chance for, like, social skills and emotional regulation, and know if they have a meltdown, it's okay because it's in a safe we can lock rooms, you know? Everything is meant to be touched here and explored, and we find it really successful, and then the children end up gaining social skills without even being forced to do social skills. So that's a really cool program, and then the parents get it's like, it's kind of like then the parents get to chat to each other and relate to each other. So it's great for all aspects. Instead of taking them to, like, Flying Squirrel where there's, like, lots of people and they can't get away, like, if they need to go to the sensory room, they can go to the sensory room, they can have a break by themselves, Instead of just doing sticking in the gym and doing one craft, we have lots of rooms where they have lots of opportunities, and it's been really successful, and the parents really like that it's a locked space, it's a locked there's locks on the kitchen, so they can't get into anything, and it's staffed, and, um, it really lets the kid have the freedom to just have a good time and not have all the demands of society put on them to play. in a
For
public
sure.
place, let's say.
For sure.
Mhm.
So when it comes to assigning supports or resources, what's the
Mhm.
process for determining what supports or resources are required?
So since we are very individual based, people can email us on our website. We have like a referral form on there that tells us a little bit about what's going on, and then Janice and I will get back to them about setting up like a phone call or like a Zoom call. We tend to like do phone calls because we need to hear. It gives us a little bit of like a better idea with what we really need and like how we're going to support that person rather than just an email. So then we do like an intake process, and then most of our guests we invite them to come because we want to make sure that we're the right fit for them. We think we're amazing and like we're mostly the right fit for a lot of people, but we want to see like if the person gravitates towards it. Do they feel comfortable here? And then we go on from there, and then we have more of like a then we can identify, normally by meeting them, we can identify, like, what needs they need, and normally, sometimes if we start out with a more of a like a one-to-one or a two-to-one, mainly it's a one-to-one, and then if we see that, like, "Oh, no, they're okay, they're getting enough, their needs are being covered in, like, a two-to-one or, like, a three-to-one or a group situation," then we can also pull back the supports. But we try to kinda put the support there to start out with so they feel comfortable, so they can build that rapport with that person, and then we'll pull back their supports, um, if they're okay with, like, 3 guests to 1 support type of thing. So it all kinda varies on what that individual person needs and, like, talking to the caregiver and the goals, what they want, and then what we think, based off of the wheelhouse and other guests would be the best fit for them.
Wow. Okay. And
Yeah.
if someone Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask if someone wanted to become a member or volunteer with Jason's Wheelhouse, what's the process for becoming a member and what's the process for becoming a volunteer?
Oh, we love, volunteers. We do lots of, like, community events that we need volunteers for. Honestly, just, like, reaching out on our website, you can do, like, the referral form and say, like or email us, be like, "Hi, I'm really interested in becoming a volunteer," and then, they'll be like, there's a process, like, you're gonna have to get, like, a police check, a vulnerable sector, meet us. We have a volunteer contract that we're going to put in place, and then just regular communication with us, and then we'll let you know when, we need the volunteer staff, we would like to get our ducks in a row first to make sure you're a safe person to be around everybody,
Of course.
especially right? So we do have that vulnerable sector and then, the contract, and you kinda have, like, the same responsibilities as an employee, so we like to get the, contract there and just to so everybody's clear and understands, like, what needs we need from them or, like, the expectations of a volunteer. But, yeah, just reach out, and then we can kinda guide you through the process.
So if listeners are looking for more information, how can they reach out to you?
If you go into the website, www.jasonswheelhouse.com, we are located in Paris. We serve, 3 different regions. So, and this is might be beneficial for everybody. We have had just offered transportation services, so now we have a wheelchair accessible van. So we really are inclusive. We're trying to be at least, and so we can now offer transportation if that person lives a little bit further or is needs a wheelchair accessible van. So that's also something that's a barrier that we run into with people, transportation. We're like, well, let's see if we can figure it out. So we just got that, so that's very exciting. But just going to we have social media. You can look up Jason's Wheelhouse on Facebook, Instagram. You can look us up on like Google, and then there's like information on there as well. But the website for sure. That's probably the fastest way to get a hold of us. We don't recommend you dropping in, we would love that, but, we prefer if you booked an appointment with us through email, or you can call us. My number is on the website. That's totally cool. Or text me if that's better for you, honestly, whatever works. And, because we sometimes have guests that can't have other visitors come in, so we don't want to disturb them or cause them more anxiety. So we do recommend the appointment first, and then we will set up a time where it's safe for everybody for them to come and view the space.
Oh, of course. Wow. Well, Corinne, we are out of time. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and for answering my questions. It was really inspiring to hear your stories and just to hear the passion in your voice when it comes to talking about anything to do with Jason's Wheelhouse.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome talking to you.
Thank you. Well, this concludes another Community Partners interview. Let's care, let's share, because we've all been there. I'm your host, Nafisah Anif, signing off until next time.